Hi, this is Sandra Rodriguez.
I'm Jennifer Moreno.
We're going to go over today the four lobes of the brain. As you see here, we have the brain. We have color-coded these for you. And here at the beginning, we have the frontal portion of the brain. So here you have the anterior part, and then this is the back part right here. So again, this is the frontal lobe here. And then here and here, you have the parietal lobe. And then off to the side, you have the temporal lobe. And then posteriorly, here in the back, you have the occipital. And then way back here, you have the cerebellum. But the cerebellum is really not considered a lobe of the brain. It's just a part of the brain here. It's called the cerebellum. As is this strip here in the middle, I will show you. This here is called the central sulcus, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. And it's divided into two parts, which you have the precentral gyrus, which is from here this way, and then you have the postcentral gyrus, which is from here that way. Okay, so some landmarks and boundaries you have in the frontal area are the central and lateral parts of the brain. And again, your precentral gyrus, which is up here. And again, that's your motor strip right in here. So it's there. And then Broca's area also falls within your frontal lobe. Functions for the frontal lobe basically is for planning, also execution and control of movements, your speech motor plan. It also takes in information, perceptions and memories, and makes decisions, worries, and plans. It is also activated to recall episodic and personal memories, and it also retrieves memory as well. So moving forward, we go on to the parietal part of the brain. Do you look at it here a little better? This part here is the parietal part of the brain. Landmarks, you have your postcentral gyrus, which would be this part here, which is also your sensory output. You have your inferior parietal lobe, which integrates sensory information for sight, sound, and body sense. It also consists of the angular gyrus, which is for understanding written language. And then you have the supramarginal gyrus, which again for motor planning of speech, blends semantics and phonetics. So of course you know semantics, which is word meaning. The functions of the parietal lobe would be specialized for perception. It's activated for recollection of information, particularly, again, semantic information. It's also activated in storage memory for sensory perception. Again, this is your parietal lobe. Next, we have your temporal lobes, which are the green in here. Right in here. You have the temporal lobe. Landmarks are the superior temporal gyrus, the Heschel's gyrus, which is for auditory information. You have the area 42 for higher auditory processing, and you have Wernicke's area for language processing. The functions would be auditory integration area. It's activated during memory storage of visual cues, and it's involved in new learning. So let's turn it around here, and we're going to our next lobe, which would be up in here. And this is our occipital lobe. It's in the posterior limit of the brain. So remember, this is your anterior, and we're back here, the posterior limit of the brain. It's responsible for receiving visual stimulation and some higher levels visual processing as well. The next anatomy we have back in here would be your cerebellum, which is considered the largest component of the hindbrain. It's responsible for coordinating motor command with sensory inputs to control movements, and it communicates with the brainstem, the spinal cord, and the cerebral cortex by means of superior, middle, and inferior cerebellar peduncles. The cerebellum also plays a significant role as memory for motor function and cognitive processing. So you most definitely don't want to get whacked back there in the cerebellum, that's for sure. So again, this is our brain, and we went over, just to recap a tad bit, the frontal lobe, which is this baby blue part here, your parietal lobe, which was the lavender part here, occipital, which is posterior, and then your temporal, which are here on the sides. And of course, not to forget the cerebellum, which is back here. So again, we hope you learned a little something, just very basic, the 4 lobes of the brain. Thank you.